Yeah, he just briefed me walking out here.
Why do you think this keeps coming up over and over again?
I don't know. I mean, I think when talking to him last night, I think he was stunned. He was disappointed. I think he really liked it here. Very close with his teammates. I told him I thought the timing itself wasn't a real good time, but they actively pursued him. They wanted to trade for him at the draft, and we turned it down. And they had called last week and turned it down again. And then when we sat down with Corey and Billy and Ed as a group and looked at the offer that they made for us, and kind of really, it more speaks to what our depth was at the position. We felt like it was a move to make. So.
Chip, you mentioned before that guys of high profile get released all the time. Pointed out Revis a couple times. Why is it when you get rid of a guy like that, it always seems to come back at you differently? There's such.
That's a question for those guys. I really don't know. Yeah, it did. It really did. I mean, when he left here last night, shook my hand, gave me a hug. So, didn't say anything. Billy felt the same way when he left. And I like Brandon. I just don't know. I really don't know.
Are you concerned about perception?
No, I'm not. I mean, talk to our players. Those are the guys I'm concerned with, and I have great confidence in those guys in that locker room that are getting ready to come train it right now. So.
Were you okay with Boykin and how he practiced his job and how he did things?
Yeah, Brandon has a great work ethic. He did everything that we asked him to do here. Never had an issue with him. Was a great teammate, very well liked here. So.
From a football perspective, why does the move make sense?
We got a lot of depth at that position. I think it's more to our confidence in Byron Maxwell and Carroll and Rowe and Shepard and Biggers and Watkins and Rice and Evans. We're going to have to make some tough decisions at corner, and we're not going to be able to keep them all. And we had 9, and we're probably going to keep 5. So the fact that you don't get to the end of camp and you're releasing somebody, you had a chance to get a trade acquisition for him, or you got something on the other end of it. And he was the one. We had another call in the summer about Nolan, but we weren't trading Nolan. So he was the one guy I think that was attractive to people on other teams out there. So.
You moved Thurman to safety during the OTAs.
Mm-hmm.
You thought about moving him back to nickel now that Boykin's gone?
There's a lot. I mean, we're going to run everybody through there, to be honest with you, and we'll figure that out. We have so many training sessions between now and when we play against the Falcons. We'll get enough reps at who will end up being the nickel at that point in time. But there's a lot of candidates. Walt will stay at safety right now. You won't see him at nickel. Ja'Cory Shepard will be in there. You'll see Watkins in there, who's done a lot of things. E.J. Biggers just played in there. So we'll mix and match and try to get as many reps as we possibly can for those guys. Malcolm has played it before. So we got some versatility, we feel, in that position. So
If Brandon weren't entering the last year of his contract, Chip, would the thinking be a little bit different on
Probably,
willingness
yeah.
to get rid of him?
Yeah, that probably would have been. That's a factor that weighs into it. All those things weigh into it. But that's a good question.
Did the Steelers offer get better?
Yeah, it got better it just kept progressing. It was now we're not interested, but it just kept getting better. So.
Considering how much time you spend with these guys, does it bother you personally that multiple guys have made these comments on the way out?
Yeah, it does. But the reality is we have 90 guys, and you're going to have to cut to 53, so 37 guys are going to be disappointed. And obviously I would imagine all 37 of those guys have a different opinion than we have as a staff, but that's what you have to do, and that's what we're charged to do. So.
What will Sam Bradford do today?
Sam will do everything. Sam's cleared to go, full go. Every guy we have, all 89 guys are full go. They're up and they're going. So there's not anybody that has any restrictions or is being held back today at all.
How will the rest of the quarterback position be distributed?
We haven't even talked. Ryan's just going to roll them, so they'll all go through there, I think. I mean, we didn't even have we're going to try to get as many reps as we can in today and in the amount of time we're on the field. And, we talk, I don't care if he's with the 1s, the 2s, or the 3s. We're just ripping and running, and let's get some stuff on tape to get in the meetings this afternoon and coach them up on.
Part of Brandon's quote was that thinks that you're uncomfortable around grown men of our culture and that you need total control. Just wonder what your interpretation of that quote is and what your response would be.
I haven't really had time to digest that, but I don't believe that. I mean, talk to D'Amico, talk to the other guys here. I think those are the guys you should talk to.
It's 2 weeks from the first preseason game. Is Bradford going to be playing in the first preseason game?
Yeah, barring anything happening now, but he's full go 100%. When you talk to him, he had a great offseason. I think from when we left on June 18th to now, he feels really confident. He's not going to play with a brace. Not going to, at least out in our training sessions out here, he feels comfortable without it. He's ready to go. So.
John Moffitt, what went into that decision, and is he a realistic candidate to start?
I have no idea about the starting part of it. Our first chance to see him live will be today. Didn't do anything with him before that because it came after the off-season program ended. So, obviously has gone through some things, but felt confident when he came here and visited in June and met with Jeff Stoutland. He felt really comfortable with him. James Harris, Ed, everybody that was around him felt like he's made some mistakes in the past, and we're hopeful, that he's gone beyond that. I think he's got a plan in place to be successful, and we'll see. We're going to throw him into the mix there with the rest of those guys and see how it plays itself out.
You mentioned Shepard as one of the possible replacements for Boykin. What did you see out of him in OTAs and minicamp?
We're really, really impressed with him. I think he slipped probably a little bit in the draft because he was hurt, had a hamstring, kind of a lingering thing. Didn't work out as well as probably people expected in the off season. In the testing time when all the college coaches around, didn't run a great time. But when you turn the tape on, he's a legitimate football player. And then what we saw on tape is what we saw during OTAs and minicamp and the off season program. So I think we're excited about his development and his growth to go along with those other guys. I think we really believe we've got some really good young corners here, and that gave us, I think, a little bit more of a comfort level when the opportunity to get something for Brandon came up, is that we got some young guys I think that we can rely on. So
what did you see on tape and here?
He's explosive. He's got great ball skills. He's really quick in and out of cuts. He seems like he's got a real knack to being around the ball all the time. Showed up a lot when you turn the tape on, and I think we were surprised that he was still around in the sixth. We kind of held our breath. If I think back, I don't think we had a fifth. We traded it, so we were kind of holding our breath, but he was a guy that we had targeted, and we were excited that when he was still there in the sixth, we had a chance to get him.
Will Rowe get any snaps inside, or would you prefer to keep him out?
He's going to stay at corner right now, Paul.
No, but I mean, as far as...
At nickel? Right now he's not. I mean, for the first... We've kind of planned these first 3 days before we take that first day off, so for the next 3 days he'll stay outside, but all those guys are in the same room, so they're taught corner, nickel, safety. It's not like when Corey's teaching, he just talks to these guys here and then says, okay, you guys be quiet, now we'll talk to these guys. So he's a real sharp kid. He's got a great understanding of the defense so far, and he's another guy that we're excited about how he's going to progress and compete with Nolan for that spot across from Byron.
Jeff, you got a conditional fifth rounder for Brandon. What are the conditions?
Yeah, it'll go to a fourth if he plays 60% of the snaps. So that was the part that I thought kind of put it over the top for us.
So now you're a big Brandon Boykin fan. Even bigger.
I've always been a Brandon Boykin fan. I think he did an unbelievable job in the two and a half years I was with him, and I wish him nothing but success. I still go back to the pick he had against the Cowboys, to seal it for us to win a division 2 years ago. But I wish him the best. I told him that last night. I hope he's successful. They seem like they've got a couple guys banged up in the secondary right now. We may have a shot at being not only a nickel for them, but an outside corner. Their nickel last year is with Miami. But their nickel played 60% of snaps from last year, so we thought it was probably too good a deal for us to turn down at that point in time.
As far as Carroll, you said you were not going to move him. What's the confidence in Nolan?
I think Nolan really grew in his year in this program. You watched him when we first got here to where he is now. He's made some great strides. If you ask any guy, any of these players who was when we talk about our competitions in the weight room and all those other things, the guy who won them all was Nolan. I mean, he really kind of set the tone for the defensive back group, and I think his game really stepped up, and we're excited to see kind of where he can he take that next step into becoming a full-time starter out there. And I think it's going to be a really good battle to watch, because I think Eric Rowe's right in that mix too, but they're kind of what we're looking for: corner, taller, longer, physical guys, and we're excited to see what he can do.
You said the Steelers were aggressive in the pursuit of Boykin, looking at their situation, cornerbacks. You obviously have a bunch of inside linebackers now. Has there been any?
No, we haven't had any other questions. Mike Kendricks is not going anywhere. I can tell you that right now, and write that down in ink, not pencil. Mike's not going anywhere.
You've said multiple times you want guys who love playing football. With Moffitt, what convinced you he's one of those guys, given what happened to you?
I think it's love for you guys to sit down and talk with him. I think he made some mistakes in his life, and I think he understands them. He owns them. He didn't deflect them. He didn't blame anybody else. He takes full responsibility for what's gone on, and I feel like after meeting with him, that he deserves a second chance. And I think us investigating him and talking to other people that have been around him and who he worked with. He actually worked out with Lane Johnson extensively in the offseason. We talked to Lane about him and his interactions with him, and spent a lot of time with kind of figuring out what he's all about. We felt comfortable in it, and we're hopeful that he has turned the corner and he's got an opportunity. And then really, the ball's in his court. It's up to him in terms of what he wants to do with his career in the National Football League. We're giving him an opportunity to come in here. He's on a 1-year contract. There's no incentives, no guarantees. It's just we'll give you a shot and see what you can do.
Ethan Lane and several other players trained in MMA during the offseason. I was curious what your attitude is towards that as far as being helpful.
I think it's really helpful. I actually had gone out there and took a visit to go talk to Tom House, and then went by where those guys trained. They were done during the day, and I obviously didn't see them training, but spent some time with the people that they were training with, and I was there's a lot of flexibility, hip stuff. There's a lot of leverage that they learn. There's a lot of mental toughness. I think it's interesting. Zach Ertz was there also, but remember Zach, and he can share the story with you, but I think when he lined up and he was either across from Randy Couture or Chuck Liddell, that's a pretty good matchup for a guy that's never been involved in any MMA competitions. But Jay Glazier and Brian Urlacher have a gym out there, and they've done a great job and have really given these guys a solid foundation when it comes to leverage, hips, and a lot of different things. So I'm a big proponent of it.
Sam's 100%, you said, but
He's 100% to go in training and practice. I don't know if he'll tell you what exactly it is, but he's full go.
But day to day, is he someone that can manage?
We'll see. He passed the conditioning test yesterday. We don't have any restrictions in talking to the trainers and the doctors on him right now, but that doesn't mean 2 days from now if something flares up, we're going to have to handle it. But right now we're not anticipating, hey, he's going to practice today and then tomorrow we're going to take him off. Right now he's going to go until we see how his knee responds. But he's had a great. When you talk to him, he feels really confident. I think he's right on track to where he wanted to be, and as we said, we expected Donnie coming over the walls here.
When you lost Matthew Tucker,
yeah.
How do you feel about your depth at that position?
Obviously, tough break, and really felt bad for Tuck. He's got I think it's a tendon, not just a muscle tear, so he would be out for 6 to 9 months, had to have surgery on it. So first thought is felt bad for him, but we feel like we have some depth there, and we'll see how it plays out. Obviously with DeMarco and Ryan and Darren, you feel really confident, and then really what the battle is for number 4. Kenyon's been here for a year, been on the practice squad with us, real comfortable and know all about him, and then Mostra did a really good job, and we're excited about him. He's a real speed guy, could factor in the kick return game, was the 100-meter champ in the Big Ten. I think is an interesting guy to keep an eye on here in this preseason camp. So,
okay.
Thanks, guys.